During your time as tech producer, do you have any favorite or memorable episodes? So memorable may not be like favorite, but boy, you certainly remembered the way that went down, you know?
A couple, I was thinking about this before the show came on today, and I was remembering we had one, I'm struggling to remember his name, unfortunately, but we had an in-house guest, which for us at the time was exceedingly rare. I think it still is. And he was a musician. He played guitar. And so he talked about his faith journey and then also played a couple original songs on the air for us.
Royce Lovett.
And that was, yeah, Royce. So that was a ton of fun. I think in the back half of the show, anytime when we introduced a segment called What's Behind Kurt, and it was our spin on 20 questions.
Yeah, the green screen.
And so everybody but Kurt could see what the thing was.
Right.
And Kurt had to guess what it was.
Yeah.
And that was a ton of fun to put together. I think there was also a fun feeling of like, inevitably, there's so many moving parts to a live stream, especially so now. And, you know, if you compare our first video live stream, which was, I think was just the Mevo and then the audio board with a couple of cables going somewhere, but most of it going wirelessly to your phone.
Yeah.
And
right.
I
yeah, we were using my phone.
Yeah, your phone was the camera. And you compare it to what you're using today, which, you know, me and the in-house tech producer have lovingly referred to as the rat's nest.
Yeah.
There's so many, and that's not uncommon for broadcast. There's so many wires going so many places to keep a clean machine up and running. There is always this, even if you have everything in place, more often than not, there would be this last minute panic. Something would go wrong and I would have to put out a flash fire either before I went live or like, you know, so here's, for all of you watching, here's a fun trivia piece that is almost always true. If you log on at the top of the show, there's this lovely 5-minute timer that's happening that's letting you know the show's about to start. Almost every time, there is a lot of panic happening behind those 5 minutes to get, like, put out some fire that has happened, or someone realizing that the subtitle's not ready, or, like, the guest feed went down, or our internet crashed. Something happened.
Oh yeah, internet crashing.
That happened a lot in the T-Mobile days.
Yeah, we were using a hotspot, and this was, you know, this was 8 years ago, and so the hotspot, you know, was all we could afford at Defenders at the time, was this dinky little limited data hotspot, and they would throttle, you know, after we had reached. So there were some episodes where like our quality was just throttled. But you brought up,
and we had to purchase more data.
Oh yeah, man! I had forgotten that we were streaming from. We were doing the production and feeding the cords into my phone. I had forgotten that we had that workflow for some time before we got the computer. Wow, we were making
simpler
it
times, man.
Yeah, but you're right that now the production is, you know, we've got like pro lighting and we got cords that go under the floor through the basement over to Gabe's desk. And okay, but one thing that hasn't changed: putting out the fires. We were still having tech issues.
Yeah, I heard you guys in the background when I came on at the top, like before the show started.
Yeah, and even my computer's glitching. Yeah, we think maybe there's a cord that needs to be replaced or something. So that never stops. And then you just kind of 2 o'clock hits.
And most of the time, you guys never know about it because we get it fixed or we work around it. But there's always it's just the way it is in live.
Yep. Okay, let me ask you,
live production.
What's your least favorite? Because I kind of have a few I could pick up and be like, man, that was a bummer of a interview or something like that.
Man. Least favorite episode?
Sure.
Wow. I've never thought about it in those terms before. I gotta like Rolodex everyone we had on the show.
We had a lot of people.
There was okay. There was one episode where we had another in-house guest, and for some reason, so I had a camera just like I would with any in-house guest. We had A cam, B cam. So the A cam was on Kurt, and the B cam was on the guest. And for some reason, this is during those 5 minutes before the show started, both the guest and Kurt decided, hey, we're not going to talk to each other. Let's both look at our respective cameras instead. And so it was the most awkward looking conversation because you could tell in the physical space that they were right next to each other, but they weren't looking at one another. And it would have been a lot more natural for them to have a dialogue, but they both looked very stiff and like jilted because they not only were talking to a screen and not a person.
Right.
But also they were forcing themselves to not look at each other. And I'm like, what are we doing? And
boy, I can't even remember which guest it is, but it's okay if you don't want to say the person's name. But I just don't remember that one. when you do so many, they kind of just blur together sometimes. I do remember we had not quite theology apologetics, but like testimonies. What we called it, like stories of the journey or something like that. And we brought on different people that I had just met. One of them was Matt Merton, a former Chicago Cubs baseball player. He's a Christian guy and was in Japan. He actually broke Ichiro Suzuki's hits record in Japan, which was a neat little factoid.
Wow.
So it was neat to have him on. Yeah, so I don't know that I would quite do that style anymore, right? Season 1 was very interviews based, and now there's just more teaching that I've been doing. Reaction videos. I mean, we didn't do that sort of thing back several years ago, so I think styles have changed.